actually came into constitution, the reasons behind it, and after that we can somehow group them together, like they have similar background and all that. So because women who work in constitution, they are not like really like social with others because they're different social level, you can say that. It's hard to mix with them, but within themselves, because if they know they've been through similar experiences, it's easier. With this group, they can do like community projects like kindergarten or something like a soup kitchen, so that they can get to know each other and really open up. And this somehow, like as a group, is much better. That's something like therapy. After that, you also if we can find anyone with previously was a prostitute and managed to go into work and did really well, so we can ask them to talk to them, give a talk. So this also improves their confidence. To address the lack of skills, using the call centers again, we can link them. We know that they want to quit and everything, so that we can link them to institutions. Institutions that can teach them soft skills, basic business skills, or basic skills that they need to do to work. And from there, we can actually link them to firms who don't need people who have high skills. From there, they can gain the skills, and yeah, that's our empowerment.
Okay, thank you.
So hi everyone. Today our target group is 40 disadvantaged children with parents who aren't earning, so they live on government benefits. So we've identified the needs being the kids lack confidence to do a few things, they lack technical skills, and they need a bit of experience to do something useful. So we've come up with a few ideas, and Holly will just mention a few of them.
So they're 16 to 18 years of age, so they've left education, but we're making quite a lot of assumptions here. So we're assuming that they're probably not going to go down an academics or career pathway. So we thought we could do a two-pronged approach. So we'd begin by addressing their low self-esteem, and particularly try to address the cycle of unemployment and benefits between the generations. So we'd start by increasing their self-esteem through workshops and things, and then we'd introduce them, we'd partner with local employers to give them sort of work experience in, I don't know, a construction yard or a building trade or plumbing or something, to get them to develop a routine and a pattern and understand what it is to work. And then whilst we were doing that, we'd partner that with more self-esteem workshops, and then at the end we would sort of develop a way to apply for further programs like apprenticeships, or if they're not eligible for apprenticeships, how they can move on to college courses to get the skills to go into an apprenticeship, if that's what they wanted to do.
We also identified that the parents would be very key in what would happen to the kids. So maybe they could possibly come in the way and say that, okay, we don't want you doing this, we want you to come back home and do something with us. So we've also thought about possibly having a volunteer or someone go there, visit them in their homes, possibly have a word or two with their parents, just tell them what we're doing with their kids, where we're taking them, what we plan on, what the sort of things we plan on letting them go through, and possibly even guiding their parents to possibly get some employment if possible. And there may be incentives, like we sort of arrived at the conclusion that there may be incentives if they work and they lost their benefits, then they might just go back to being unemployed. So we would just like to look into what the benefits, sort of conditions they have, and if we can help the parents out. Because in a way, if the parents also come on board, then it's a lot easier helping these disadvantaged kids. So that's all the plan.
Great, thank you. They were really good presentations. We were very impressed by how cool, calm, and collected you all were. And I know this exercise is very difficult, especially if you don't have much information around the actual needs, and I know you make a lot of assumptions, but I just want to give you a taste for coming up with a project idea. Now, I'm going to finish in about 4 minutes, so I'm already slightly over time, but I just want to finish on impact. You've come up with those amazing project ideas. The key thing is actually making sure you have an impact and really figuring out how you're going to measure it. Has anyone heard of benchmarking? Does anyone want to tell me what benchmarking is? For example, we talk about impact.
Benchmarking is kind of comparing you to the best at what's currently out there. So see where you are compared to a competitor or.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And when we talk about benchmarking impact, for example, we're looking at where were the beneficiaries at the start and where are they at the end of the project, or the middle of the project. Is this project actually having a positive impact? There's no point in saying, oh, well, you know, we worked with this homeless individual and now he's earning £100. We worked with this individual, now he's earning £100 a week and blah, blah, blah. There's a question of, well, so what, is he earning £100 a week now and he was earning £200 a week before the project? Or is he earning £100 a week now and he was earning nothing before? So you always have to be able to compare situation before and after. That's what we talk about when we talk about impact measurement. Now in Enactus we talk about two things in reference to impact: improving beneficiaries' quality of life and improving beneficiaries' standard of living. So before I talk about that, why do you measure impact? It's obvious, but you need to make sure you actually meet your project's goals. You need to look at how you can improve your projects, see if your projects are actually having an impact and actually having a positive impact, particularly. You need to be able to measure impact if you want to present projects at national competition. That's important too. Make sure you benchmark. Don't be afraid to be creative with your impact measurement as well. Things like measuring increases in income, very easy to do. Things like measuring self-esteem, motivation, confidence, less easy to do, which is why you often need to be a bit more creative. I should mention at this point as well, if anyone's interested in impact measurement particularly, one of my friends and I, Vicky Pelka, will be running a session on impact measurement and evaluation at the Grantham training weekend, which I spoke about earlier. So we're going into a lot more detail on that there. Sometimes the deepest impact is hard to measure. So as I was saying before, very easy to measure increases in income, but if you've taken an individual from being suicidal, having no hope in life, completely lacking motivation, to a place where they're positive about the future, you're really excited about looking for work, employment, building relationships, or whatever it is. That's a massive impact, but it's not easy to measure. So it's a very deep impact. Outputs versus outcomes. If anyone has had any sort of involvement in international development, which is the sector I work in, we talk about outputs versus outcomes. Outputs is the things that you do as a team. So we delivered 5 workshops, we delivered 30 hours of mentoring, blah, blah, blah. They're things you've done, they're not impacts that you've had. The impact, the outcome, is what this actually means. So it means that this has happened, this person's got a job, this business is running successfully, blah, blah, blah. So when you talk about impacts, you should always ask, so what? So you say, well, I've trained this individual on how to write a CV. Great. So what? Now you can write a CV. Well, actually now he's got a job. So what? Now he's got an income. So what? Again, if you've increased the income of a person that was previously unemployed, that's going to be a lot different from if you've increased the income of the CEO of McDonald's. So what does this actually mean for the person? Well, it means they can provide for their family, it means they can eat more nutritious food, etc., etc. So always ask, so what? Why is this important? In terms of standard of living is more tangible. So it's material changes in a person's life, getting a job, gaining income, getting a house, access to clean drinking water, food, etc. These are quantitative things, so they're easier to measure. You've got physical, hard facts, proof. You can measure them through statistics, questionnaires, tests, figures like profit, income figures, etc. Quality of life is a bit more difficult. That's the more wishy-washy stuff, but it's more important in my view. It's non-material changes, so things like increasing someone's confidence, increasing their self-esteem, increasing their respect for themselves, respect amongst the community. It's harder to measure, but often it gives the standard of living measures meaning. So, I was saying before about, well, so what, this person's increased their income, what does that actually mean for them? And this is more difficult to measure, so you can measure it through things like focus groups, stories, testimonials, interviews, videos, etc. Okay. That was my whirlwind tour of the Enactus criteria. I'm aware I've gone over by about 10 minutes. But does anyone have any questions before I jet off? This is something which you'll go back to throughout the year. As I said, I'm mentoring the team throughout the year. I'm happy to help you with this. if you are going to the training weekend. But if you're thinking you're not going to the training weekend, I would recommend you reconsider. It's a really, really good opportunity for you to develop your skills, develop your understanding of Enactus, and to get some of these tools as well. Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Nadia, for the very insightful presentation. We're going to take a very short break because we're a bit over time.